What's going on, guys? Dane here, aka Dr. Autoflower. We are back with another episode. Today we're going to get into part one of the most controversial autoflower growing techniques. So in the last episode of this, we did the most controversial just general growing techniques. Now we're going to get into autoflowers. Now I reached out to a bunch of people and asked them their opinions on this, and I got a lot of feedback. So we're going to talk about some of the feedback I got, and I also want to have you guys reach out because I want to do another episode of this, because if you guys have any information on the topics we're going to be talking about, like topping. So if you've ever topped autos, I want to get a community effort going, and we're going to compile a bunch of separate grows, and we're going to talk about them and show them. We're going to show if it decreased the yield, if it hurt the plant, hurt the production of what it could have had, or if it helped the plants. We want to see some documented grows. So if you got pictures, videos, just reach out to me at the Dr. Autoflower Instagram. That's probably the best place to get a hold of me. If you have any pictures or video of documentation of these grows, if you've done these kind of controversial topics on your grows, then let's show it to the community. Let's compile it all together, and we'll make a video just focusing solely on each topic. We're going to really want to show off how many people have tried this, what were the results, what to watch out for, the best techniques, stuff like that. So if you have any information on this kind of stuff, make sure you send it to me. You can reach out to me at Dr. Autoflower on Instagram or Dr. Autoflower on Facebook, but Instagram is usually the best way to get a hold of me if you want to send me a DM. And before we get into it, guys, make sure you smash that like button. It's free, it's easy, all you gotta do is smash it, and it really helps the channel, helps the algorithm pick it up better, and then it kind of pushes it out more to more subscribers and stuff. So it really helps, and I really do appreciate it. Also, if you got questions, comments, make sure you put it down in the comment section below. And for questions, I'll get to them in the next question and answer videos. And I'll answer them there on the video, because then it helps the whole community learn from the question and everyone can grow together. So right off the bat, let's get right into the most controversial autoflower growing technique is topping. Topping autoflowers, the act of removing the top of the plant where the new growth is coming from. That way it branches out and creates multiple tops, and if you did that on multiple branches, it can really branch out and create a very big bushy plant. So the issue you have with doing this with autoflowers is autoflowers have a very specific amount of time they have to grow. They have this short bursting vegetative growth period, and they go straight into flower after that automatically. No time change of light, just straight into flower. So the issues you run into if you're topping is it can stunt the plant and it just slows growth altogether. So that's what I've seen before. That's usually the big thing you always got to watch out for, is stunting the plant in any way, because once you stunt the plant, then you're losing out on multiple days of growth. But for the people who've learned to do it very gently, I guess, and not stunt the plant while they do the process, it can be very beneficial. I've seen some very good grows where the plants get really bushy and they still have a very vigorous veg growth period. I would say this would definitely be done with autoflowers that flower longer. So not the ones that are done in like 8 to 7 weeks, the really fast ones. 8, 7, 9 weeks. You probably want the ones that take like 10 weeks, 11 weeks. Those are the ones that you're probably going to get your best benefit of doing this with, because then you're going to have more growth period, more a bit more vegetative time for them to recover when you do it. For newbies, I've seen some really bad mess ups, and I've done it myself, where it just didn't really help and it decreased the yield, and it just stunted the plants. So it didn't help at all. Some people, they have great luck and have amazing grows. And one of the comments from LKA Budman says he likes to top his autos, and he says the more growth you can get in the first 30 days, the bigger plant you will end up with. So he's saying if you top them and you can get them to grow as big as you can for the first 30 days, you're going to have some really good results. And technically it is also easier than, let's say, LSTing, where you have to tie each branch down individually and spread them out so they get the best sunlight penetration going through the plant. Whereas in topping, you're just boom, 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 topping the plant and then you're done. It's not a whole bunch of tying down and messing with the plant. So it is a bit easier. So let's say you've never tried this and you do want to get into trying this. I would say ease into it. Start with just like 1, maybe 2 plants. Like I said, start with some autoflowers that have longer flower time than usual, like over 10 weeks, so like 10, 11 weeks, maybe 12. When you're choosing autoflowers, look for the ones that get bigger and bushier. I would say go with these kinds, not the ones that stay short and small, because you're probably going to have not so good results with those ones. And I would just say experiment. There's so many videos out there showing how to top plants. It's very simple. And just do it very gently. Do it with a clean scissor, clean it with alcohol so there's no stress or anything or diseases getting into the plant or anything like that. A lot of people say you should do it around the 4th or 5th node once that forms. So I would say that's a good indicator where you would want to start doing this. And then there's some people who, like Harvey Phillips here, says, I do what I want with them. At 9 days old, I top them, and if I mess up, it's on me. So some people do it as early as that. I think the best thing to do is do a logbook and experiment. Write down your results, what you found each time, and each new grow, just experiment some more. And then you'll get your techniques down, and if you feel like you want to continue doing this, you can do it. Or if you don't really see a benefit from it, just do LSTing. So, and on that note, I got a comment from Ed Denny saying, I would agree, probably topping autos. It works for some, but in my experience, learning how to LST correctly achieves better results without the risk of screwing up your plants. And I personally would agree with that. Some people, they just want to experiment, and I say go for it. I'm never one to say don't do this, don't do that. I always say experiment and find out what works best for you. But I do have to agree with that. It is less risky to just do LSTing properly and defoliate when you need to. It just seems like this is the more simpler, easier. And also another comment on this, Gary, he brings up an important thing. Topping autos is possible, but very risky for herms. So when you're getting into stunting plants, stressing them, especially if your genetics are not that stable, you run the risk of running into hermaphrodites, getting male pollen sacs in your plants, and that really messes up things because you don't want seeded plants. So that is another thing you do also want to watch out for. Are you using really good stable genetics? Then I would say that's probably what you would want to practice like topping on. If it's really new genetics and you've heard of some people getting Hermes with it, then I would probably stay away from using that to experiment on with topping. Alright, now that we got topping out of the way, let's get into another controversial topic. Stressing your autoflower plant to create more trichomes to make it more potent near the end of life. So there's multiple ways I've heard people doing this. One being light deprivation of 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours of light deprivation. Another is jamming a piece of wood or something else into the base of the stem. Another is giving the plant ice baths, so giving it ice cold water or putting ice on it and really getting the roots really cold, freezing them up. So I got a comment here, and it's probably the most controversial one I've seen on here for what he does when it's the end of the life of the plant. He stresses his plant for 10 to 12 days prior to chop. So he gives less and less light all the way until he gives only 3 hours of light at the end. He doesn't give newts, only water and ice. He splits the main stalk with a drill and puts an inorganic spacer in the hole just to stress it a bit more. and also lowers the temperature in the tent. And the reason why he's doing this, he says, is the ruderalis genes thinks the Arctic winter is coming, produces more trichomes to protect the, the plant. So in theory, I think it's supposed to be like the plant is supposed to produce the seeds, and then the trichomes help protect the seeds a bit. So the stress is supposed to produce more trichomes, making it more potent in the end. Now normally if people are going to be doing this, the light deprivation, they usually just do 48 hours. I've done this in the past too. I also do this when I want less heat in my area, when I just don't care about running it longer. I just turn it off for 2 days. If I'm not completely ready to do my harvest, I do that. Always do that. Just turn it off and let it go for 2 days if I'm not worried about doing it right away. Does it produce more trichomes? I'm not sure. I've done it both ways and I don't really see a difference. For me, it's just easier on the garden in general, just lowering the temps by turning off the lights in general. And just, if I'm not ready to do the harvest yet, I can wait a couple days. But again, I just don't really see a big difference. So do it if you need to. If you don't need to, don't worry about it, I say. But if you're interested, definitely experiment and try it out for yourself. I personally see it as like a lot more hassle, kind of, doing all this extra stuff. If you're not worried about all this extra hassle, like putting the ice in the bucket, or like splitting the stalk of the plant and putting something in it to make it stressed. If you want to, go ahead. For me, it's kind of something you would only do if you want to do a little extra something for the plant. If you want to keep it simple, you don't really have to do that at all. You could just get by with growing it normally and chopping it normally. And the last controversial topic we're going to talk about is cloning. So Gary brought this up, saying cloning is possible but pointless due to the auto time cycle. That is pretty much true. So yes, you can definitely clone. You're going to have better results if you have plants that have a longer life cycle, like something past like the autos that are go up to like 12 weeks or more. Those will probably give you the best results if you actually do want to try cloning. But normally you're not going to get as big as a plant from cloning. If you got the space, if you got the plant count to mess around with it, I would say definitely give it a try. If space and plant count is something that you worry about, I would say probably don't do this. It'll probably be not worth your time and the effort, but you never know. I have seen some very decent clones from autoflowers, but obviously you wouldn't want to use something super indica that's going to end in 8 weeks or something. You wouldn't want to clone that. Use a good rooting agent so it's done faster, and use the fastest rooting setup you have at your disposal. There's some fancy rooters that I think can get roots in like 5-6 days. So obviously the fastest you can get some roots going, the better your results are going to be. If you're just doing simple taking a branch and putting it into a glass of water and waiting for it to sprout roots in like a week, 10 days, then you're probably not going to get as good of results. So the faster you can get those roots coming, the better results you're going to have. But that is it for this episode, guys. And I want to say again, if you have any documentation, photos, videos of any of these topics, and you want to show me, and we're going to show the community together, if you want to have it featured on the next episode, let me know. Send me a DM on the @Dr. Autoflower Instagram or on Facebook there. Or if email's your thing, @DrAutoFlowerLED@gmail.com. Yeah, let's get a community group thing going, and it will help bring more well-rounded information to everyone, because then they can see from multiple different people who've done these things what their results were, what to watch out for, what gave them the best results, stuff like that. So yeah, if that's something you're interested and you've done these kind of growing techniques, let me know, and we'll get another episode of this going, and as a community we will grow together. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe, and until next time, guys, peace out, and we'll catch you guys later.